everybody. It's Monday. Heads on.
Hey?
Oh.
Bit of pride and ball.
Come on. Seconds. Don't worry about the seconds if you're getting your firsts.
They've stopped their talk. They're arguing amongst themselves, aren't they?
They don't like it, Upham, and other cliches. All that was very evident in the Wear Tyne derby. You see, Sunderland were at home, so you say Wear Tyne derby.
Correct.
And
thanks for letting me know about that.
And you should scorn everybody, including Luke Moore, when they get it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is all to say that Sunderland beat Newcastle United 1-0. David sits there proudly as a proud Mackem with his scarf around his neck. David, what a victory! What a victory for your boys.
He wouldn't have that. I suggested it might not have been the best game, and he was like, "Nah, I loved it."
Yeah,
it was great. It was old school.
It
was in the trenches football. I didn't want it nice. Do you know what I mean? It's always nice to get one over the visitors. So
the visitors, I know. Yeah,
you're referring to the scoreboard where Sunderland simply called Newcastle visitors, which was a lovely little dig. And of course, Sunderland at the end of the game took a photo in front of the home fans at the end, which was recreating the picture that Newcastle United took over. Did when they beat them in the FA Cup in, was it 2024?
Yeah.
Dan Ballard spoke about the pain of losing that game and said it prepared us for this game. Did Newcastle United just forget this was a derby match? It seemed so strange that Sunderland were first to every ball. They were.
Oh, Dan Ballard was everywhere. He was a big main character energy from Dan Ballard.
Yeah.
Every time there was an incident, it felt like he was either the victim of it or the perpetrator of it.
he was desperate to pop those biceps out at some point.
He was.
And I think he's a bit devastated. I think he had that header at the back post, and I think he was like desperate to get them out. You could just see where he would have done.
I think he wanted to take another one of Dan Burns' fingers as a trophy to wear around his neck.
I was going to say his ribs are on the barbecue this morning, Burns. So.
Yeah, well, Burn didn't last very long in the game, sadly. But
No.
Oh my God! I mean, it was. Yeah, the performance from Newcastle United was so devastating that I can only use these words of Pete Donaldson's to sort of sum it all up.
Well, that was fucking shit, wasn't it? David Cartledge, enjoy those 3 points. Dear Lord, Premier League, what a sad little life. I hope you spend it, Premier League, on getting some lessons in grace and decorum. I mean, that they were bad. I mean, I would say dog shit, but at least dog shit has some fucking nutrients in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wish he was here.
Pete sent us that voice note from
The inevitable indie club.
his post-match trip to an indie
From the
club.
bathroom of an indie club,
Yes,
by the
that's
sounds
right.
of things.
Yeah.
That's where he does a lot of his best work.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. Yeah.
If you want some aftershave, he's your man. But, I mean, Pete's right. Like, Newcastle was so bad in this game.
Yeah, they didn't turn up, I think, at the start. It took them a while to realise what type of game they were in. There was a couple of high balls bobbling around in the opening 20, 30 minutes, and Sunderland were just racing to them all first. And then I was watching, I was like, okay, they actually really want it a lot more here. Newcastle gradually got into it. It just took time before they did, and I think Sunderland had set their tone.
I mean, yeah, I think you're being, even in that summation, I think you're being generous to Newcastle because I think they were that poor.
Yeah.
Like they were, the idea of being first or even second to every ball. Like it's funny when people sort of kind of scoff and laugh at pundits and or chat, which is kind of like, you know, first to every ball, up and at 'em, lads, mean it and so on. And people, oh, really, this was a prime example of that.
Absolutely. Of course
Do
it
your
does.
doggies, do your basics, absolute basics.
I think
right.
people underestimate generally how important it is to be aggressive and on the front foot and snap into things, particularly in the Premier League anyway. The derby where in the league that hasn't happened for a long time and Sunderland would have been, had all the motivation they need, you know, to not just because they've come up this season, but because Newcastle have had that investment and there's been a lot of headlines around Newcastle, the players they've been able to bring in, etc., etc. Of course you want to give them a bloody nose. I thought the way Newcastle approached it was actually pretty unforgivable. There's no real excuse for it. You can lose a game, of course, right? And this game, look, David will disagree and he's absolutely right to disagree if he wants to, but I thought the game was a load of shit. and the quality was poor and there wasn't much entertainment in there beyond kind of the first 15 minutes or so when you go, okay, this is how this is going to go. And for it to be the muck and bullets in the trenches, you know, kind of warfare type game that you want to see from a derby, both teams have to compete in that. And Newcastle didn't really do that. So Sunderland kind of had their run of it. But having said that, Sunderland, I don't think registered the shot on target till very, very late in the game.
It was the 70th, I think it was the 70th minute with Isidore's volley. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was. But I'm taking absolutely nothing away from Sunderland fans and from the club. Obviously, it's a moment for them to enjoy. But it was a disappointing occasion, and I would lay most of the blame for that at Newcastle's door.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this has been coming for a while. I mean, Newcastle fans have been unhappy with Eddie Howe and the setup for quite a while and the perceived negativity. So I think you can understand it with where they approach it. And again, look, if I was a Newcastle fan, I would be fuming with the performance. I absolutely would, because I want to see blood and thunder in a derby game. I want to see big tackles. What Mukiele did, and then what Hume did when he flew in on Lewis Hall at the end as well. That's what you want to see in a derby. You don't want to see
anything, David. You want to see something.
Well, Trey Hume was pissed off clearly that he wasn't starting.
Yeah,
right, because he's played a lot and he's been decent, and for him not starting a big derby game, he'd be pissed off. And he basically took all of that out on was it Lewis Hall?
Lewis Hall. To his credit, who got up straight away.
Yeah,
who didn't make a meal of it. So yeah.
I mean, which was perhaps the only bit of fight Newcastle maybe showed. I mean, I understand what you're saying about the sort of poor quality of the game and not many chances, but the fact is Sunderland go 1-0 up right after the start of the second half. That does influence and inform how they then go about the second half. I'm not saying if that goal goes in, they're suddenly going to play free-flowing attacking football, but that goes in and they think, you know what, lads? We've been gifted a goal there. Because if that was at the other end, you said it was a great header from Woltemade.
It was an absolutely bizarre goal.
It was. I spent a time after trying to understand what he was doing, and I still have no idea what he was trying to do.
The only thing you think of is that, so...
I mean, he's just trying to head it out for a corner, obviously.
This is being generous.
Yeah.
But like, defensive players are taught and coached to head the ball up and away, and attacking players are taught to head the ball down and aggressively towards the floor to make it difficult for the keeper. And it was almost like he couldn't head it up.
Yeah,
which is strange because
but the angle he's at, and
there was
so
just
on.
I thought there was too much pace on the ball to achieve that.
He would have been well used to defensive headers defending corners and stuff like that though. So you basically go and bending over backwards to help him out. I think it was just a massive brain fart. I don't think he got the connection he wanted maybe, and it ended up obviously just flying in with no one really around him. I mean, if you're Sunderland, you can't believe you've scored there.
Yeah.
It's astonishing. It was inexplicable. I just didn't understand it. And again, the angle where I've watched it, I just don't understand what he's trying to do. I just always put it straight back out the direction it's coming in. I just don't understand why he's done that.
Did you enjoy Peter's Jury on comms? Mackem mayhem!
He planned that. He planned it.
Everything's
too much. He plans too much.
Oh, bloody script.
He plans too much. And I told you about Drury. When we used to have Drury once a month on some European game, everyone would, oh yeah, Drury. When you get him every day, it's like having fish and chips for dinner every night. By about the fourth night, you don't want it anymore. You don't want it anymore.
He's a lovely, lovely man.
I'm sure he's great.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, but fuck me, he's irritating.
Matterface gets stick for planning stuff,
Yeah.
so you've got to give it to Drury as well.
I'm not giving anybody stick.
Fair enough.
So it's a very tough job.
Yeah,
they're
play
great
in the Newcastle midfield if you like.
Oh, dearie
Because
me.
Newcastle, I feel like the other thing that's disappointing from the Newcastle point of view is they do have so many weapons as well. So if you look at, say, Elanga, who went for big money.
Very poor.
Yeah. Gordon again didn't really do
poor.
much.
Really disappointing.
I mean, Jacob Murphy came on, didn't really do much. He was really important to them last season. Woltemade, we talked about. Even Harvey Barnes has caught some headlines, couldn't do anything.
We know what they've got. It just is such an odd performance. And Eddie Howe kind of apologised for the lack of creativity and one thing and another. I mean, they looked like they were... It was either they weren't up for it, so they were disinterested and thought, we can't be bothered with this. We've just had a big trip away in the Champions League. This is beneath us or something like that. But I don't think that is the case, especially as you saw the reaction from the team and everybody after that victory in the FA Cup in the previous derby. They clearly really enjoyed that and the photo and all the rest of it. And by the way, all Debris needed to do was put that photo on the dressing room wall at Sunderland with a big old close-up of Jason Tyndall was obviously front and centre of that photo.
I'd have done like a cock and balls on his forehead.
Definitely post-match, you know, on his actual forehead, gone up there.
It's funny, the photo was decided on the pitch as well.
Was it?
So Ballard said it was literally dead in the moment. It wasn't pre-planned or anything like that. If we win, we're going to do this. It was literally decided.
Are you sure?
Marcus,
Yeah.
Ballard said.
I'm positive.
Of course he did. Ballard's in the middle of everything all the time.
Don't mind if Ballard pre-plans things, but
exactly.
He can do what he wants.
He does it.
Ballard had set up the photo and he screamed, Mackem mayhem!
Yeah. The Ballard of Dan and Mackem's. But look, with Newcastle performance, it'd be one of those ones where the fans will just be going, the Newcastle fans just be like, what the pissing hell was that?
Yeah.
Like, it's so disappointing because they go into it. It's so hard to find the words They must have been scared. I don't know. Like they get off the, but were they? I mean,
I think it was
this Newcastle side are not the type of side that get pushed around easily.
I think Sunderland are good, and Sunderland are good at home
Sunderland,
as well.
I think Sunderland are good. Newcastle didn't realise how good Sunderland were, and Newcastle thought their quality would come through at some point. And I think even at half time they thought, our quality will come through.
But they never woke up. I just,
I know. But that's arrogance.
Well, maybe it is, David, and I'm sure that's.
He says with his Sunderland scarf on.
I was about to say it's a yarn you're very, very happy to spin today, but again, Newcastle fans would just be thinking, I just don't get that.
Not
understand it.
Particularly as they appeared to have turned a corner in their league form. Right?
Yes.
So they came off into this game off the back of some good results. The story of them before that was they were pretty good in the Champions League, but have been pretty bad in the league. The league table reflects that Sunderland are a better team than Newcastle at the moment, particularly at home. They're a good home side, as we've talked about. So, I think you can separate these things out. Can Newcastle go to Sunderland and lose 1-0? Absolutely. Sunderland have been good, and this is their last probably turn around the dance floor before all their players leave for AFCON. So that's important for them to get that right. But and that's one thing. The other thing is that the performance is unjustifiable, I would say.
Oh, it is.
Because if you go really hard and you push and push and Robin Roos has a fucking worldie, and that can happen. Yeah. That didn't happen.
No, not at all.
The door was never broken down at any point. And don't get me wrong, Sunderland didn't absolutely pepper the Newcastle goalmouth. But like Newcastle, I think the onus was on them after they'd gone behind to absolutely rattle Sunderland. And they didn't. We kept organised, kept measured, and managed to see it through.
And I feel the person I feel sorry for most is the director of Sky Sports Super Sunday.
Yeah,
who had the right to expect more from that fixture.
I thought the people you're going to feel really sorry for were, of course, the Piff posse who were in charge of Newcastle.
Always feel sorry for them.
Always
feel them. Me and Ferdinand, we're always making sure they're all right.
That's right.
Men of the people.
Men of the people, exactly.
Yeah. No, I absolutely. But they are some of the few people that will be very, very happy to pay whatever for World Cup tickets.
Absolutely. Going back to the game, when's the last time Newcastle beat Sunderland in the league? I mean, there was a graphic on Sky Sports before the game. It was years and years and years ago.
Sunderland undefeated in the last 10 Premier League.
Yeah.
Derbies, which is again, I get that Newcastle away to Bayer Leverkusen, that match took a bit out of them, but you saw the way they managed to turn that match around because they were totally under the cosh early on, and it was impressive how they managed to turn it around. Unlucky not to win it, bit of a sucker punch at the end when they'd had a couple of efforts that were very, very close. And I still think, I mean, you don't have to be an Eddie Howe out man to be critical of Eddie Howe, particularly of this display. And it was similar to last season at this time, going into the Christmas period, where people were thinking, come on, Newcastle, you've got to pick it up a bit. Just the odd little teensy whisper here and there about, if it doesn't change around, how might be a bit of trouble. And then, of course, they go on that run, was it post-Christmas, if my memory serves me well? And obviously win the Cup and qualify for the Champions League again. So that could well happen. I just see Newcastle this season so far as... It's almost like the league, they're a bit like, as you said, David, there's almost a sort of an arrogance or whatever of our quality will be fine in the league. Let's concentrate on the cups. Because they saw what winning the cup meant to the people. You think, if we can win another trophy, if we can have a good run in the Champions League, blah, 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 blah. But at some point, you are going to have to get... And I really thought that since the international break, as Luke says, their results have been a bit better. Performances have been a little better as well. Not hugely better, but a bit... This was a chance, and my goodness.
Their performances have been better. They beat Man City and they smashed Everton at Everton, and Everton are good this season.
Yeah, they look markedly improved. And we've
on
said
their
on the
day
show
they're better to do it,
Yeah, and we've said when they got the fullbacks back, they've improved. They look like a different side with that. But, I mean, they were playing quite inside, I thought, this game. They weren't really overlapping and going around Sunderland because of Sunderland's shape. But, look, it's an interesting one at Newcastle. Because, I mean, say they finish 5th or 6th. I still think Howe is going to be judged. The PIF are going to look at them and go, have we gone forward this season? Have we made marked improvement for what we have put into the club?
He might better use the Champions League as a fig leaf because last time they got in the Champions League, they didn't get out of the group.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this time they almost certainly will move into the next phase and it could get interesting for them, and that might be a fig leaf.
Yeah, absolutely. But I still think they will look at it and say, what managers are available who can potentially take us further and push on.
Yeah, no, that's always going to be the case at the club. I would put something in a little bit more cheeky, perhaps leaving the cheeky territory, and perhaps even venturing a toe or two in the pond of unfairness by saying that I wonder if with those types of games, Eddie Howe is the character that you want managing your team. And I think the reason I'm saying that is because his reputation is built on what he did at Bournemouth. And Bournemouth, they don't really have any local rivals. Southampton, really. And no one really cares about that. They go in. He goes into Burnley, doesn't do really well. Obviously, goes back to goes to Newcastle. They haven't played Sunderland much. They played them once, and obviously I understand they beat them in the cup. But generally, I can't help but feel that when you're about to play a big game, and it's probably the biggest game for years in terms of local derby for Newcastle and Sunderland. And is he the guy to get you up for it? It felt a bit to me like when Ruud Gullit was saying, "Oh, it's just another game." Don't worry about
that's where you got to outsource it to Tyndall.
Yeah, so Tinder would be doing a lot of heavy lifting you'd expect. But do you remember when Ruud Gullit...
The corns and balls in training?
No,
Ruud Gullit lost his job basically for saying it's just another game.
So to piggyback on that, Luke, or to add to it, I know what you're saying. I felt that there was almost, and maybe it is more the arrogance of it, David, because I'm trying to figure out what kind of emotion. Was it fear? Was it, I don't know, tiredness or whatever? Maybe it is that there was a touch of arrogance of, lads, we're a Champions League club. Don't get drawn into it.
Yeah, I think it was that. I think it was that.
I think it was that. And Sunderland are a bit like, well, that's absolutely fine because not only are you going to get drawn into this fight, we're not going to give you any kind of creative outlet. So therefore, if you're not going to roll your sleeves up and get down and dirty with this, then you've got nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. And it showed.
And I think there's a difference between not getting involved in it and not being aggressive enough to give yourself a platform to actually do something.
Yes, there's not getting involved, but you can also, sort of Lennox Lewis it. All right, we'll keep you at arm's length, but I'll still be jabbing away. Yeah. There was nothing. Absolutely
and
nothing.
Sunderland bit them both their ears off. Yeah. That was Holyfield, to be fair, wasn't it? Yeah, that was Holyfield.
Ballard got one ear and Xhaka got the other.
Yeah.
Oh dear!
But who's took Dan Burns' finger? No, I didn't have it when we started.
Oh, I don't know. I'll tell you what though, the tifo at the start of the game with the black hat, quite terrifyingly sort of mauling that magpie. That was sort of indicative of what was to come.
I like that. I enjoyed that,
wasn't it?
What do you think of tifos? I mean, they're very much a part of the Premier League now.
No, I think it's great. I think sometimes it's looked down upon by miserable English fans. I know Palace do it.
Don't point at me. No, I've said before, I'm quite indifferent. I don't mind them, but if they disappeared, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
So I'm not slagging them off.
Yeah. I know Palace fans tried to...
The Arsenal one I was slagging off.
Yeah, we all were.
Well, the second one was better from Arsenal.
Fair enough. You've got to start somewhere.
And the story behind that was apparently Arsenal fans had a good one, and the club said, "You're not having that, we're doing our own one." And it was shit.
So we were slagging off.
I admire it. Palace fans are making an effort. Arsenal fans have made an effort in terms of moving the fans to a specific area of the ground to try and create an atmosphere. Yeah. I'm all for that. It's better than going to a game and sitting on your hands or something like that. It's like, fucking, come on, man, create something.
Yeah. Or taking your trousers down like that Sunderland fan did a number of years ago.
Yeah, that's absolutely appalling.
It wasn't you, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Did you know him?
Yeah. I do that outside the ground.
When you're away to Newcastle.
I think Sunderland, if you look back on it, all the stuff that, I mean, it's easy to write the script because Sunderland won and maybe you can backfill the narrative, but like the tifo, the calling Newcastle visitors, the performance, all the chat around it, Big Dan Ballard, they got everything right. Yeah. Newcastle seem to have got everything wrong.
Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, coming up after this, Rio Ferdinand and Jamie Carragher are having a tiff.
This episode is sponsored by Hire, official global partner of Liverpool Football Club. Hire has been ranked #1 global major appliances brand for 16 consecutive years, and that is because Hire products are designed to make everyday life just that little bit more personalised. With an innovative combination of performance and style, Hire has a massive range of amazing appliances. There's the washing machine that can keep your clothes fresh for up to 12 hours after a cycle has ended, so if you forget that you've left your clothes inside, and let's be honest, we've all done that and will continue to do so, then you don't need to rewash them. Then there's the oven with a built-in camera that can recognise your food and make sure it's cooked to your liking. There are smaller appliances like the kettle with a keep warm function so you don't have to keep reboiling it, or the blender that not only makes smoothies and soups but also has a kneading function that can be used to make dough. All appliances connect via the Hon app, which gives you tips on how best to stack the dishwasher, provide recipe inspiration for dinner, and get this, it can even recommend the best wine to pair with it. Hire is spelled H-A-I-E-R, and we're offering a discount on their amazing products. Just use the discount code HIREPOD for a 10% discount across the Hire website, which is www.hire.co.uk. That's HAIER.co.uk with the discount code HIREPOD.
2 sloppy goals, and the facts are the cold reality is that
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Scotty Parker having a little stumble there.
He's trying to say cold, hard reality, isn't he?
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it's
It
like
really does.
Marcelo Bielsa trying to say Ipswich. Although, to be fair, Marcelo Bielsa was speaking a different language. What's Scott Parker's excuse?
Ipswich is the same in every language.
That is true. That is true.
Ipswich.
Thanks to friend of the Ramble, Blair, for sending us that clip. You can become a friend of the Ramble too. Search patreon.com/Football Ramble or click that join button on YouTube to get involved. Of course, Fulham beat Scott Parker's Burnley 3-2. The first time in a long time Fulham have won at Burnley. That monkey's off their back. The sky's the limit now. And with Harry Wilson in your team, gentlemen, what a player. What a man.
The form player in the Premier League, you'd have to say.
Unbelievable.
And he is someone who could help you, Marcus, emotionally.
personally?
No, he could help you emotionally get past your love affair with Tom Kearney's left foot.
Well, maybe there's a passing of the baton here. But you know what?
The king is dead. Long live the king.
He's not dead. He's still in the squad. But you know what I thought when the first goal went in? Here we go. Oh, Speller and a Meal Smith row.
Yeah, nice. But do you reckon there's a chance that Harry Wilson
Yeah.
has had Tom Kearney's actual left foot grafted onto his leg?
Well, it appears.
It could
It
be
does
possible.
appear.
It could be
It's the
possible.
only explanation
I'd
I
like
could
an
think.
inspection.
Yeah, I mean, clearly Wilson had that wonderful left foot of his before he joined Fulham. It was good, but now
Yeah.
It's great.
I think it's the best in the world.
For fuck's sake.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, look at him. Look.
Let me have a moment,
Yeah.
eh? David's had his Sunderland
Sounds like you
stuff.
are having a moment, coughing and spluttering away through that.
Oh, my goodness. Anyway, there was another 3-2 win in the Premier League. Aston Villa beat I've done a Scott Parker. Aston Villa beat West Ham 3-2 in a 5-goal thriller. And another form player in the Premier League at the moment is England's number 10, Morgan Rogers.
Yeah, they've
Come
come in.
on.
What a
What
player.
about that one where he won the game, eh?
Oh, what a player.
What a hit.
Absolutely. Even when he was out of form, I was like, oh, come God again. He's too good. And
He
this
seems
is
like a lovely lad as well, by the way.
He does. Title chasing Aston Villa.
I love that. I love that chat.
They're on the verge,
I
aren't
love
they?
that.
Do we
They are on the
give it?
verge.
I love that chat.
Yeah, when Man City inevitably fade away, okay?
I would love a three-horse race in that title.
It would
race.
be
It'd
good.
brilliant because last season we had nothing. We deserve an extra team in
Who would
there.
you like to win it out of the three? And if you don't say Villa, then
Aston Villa, yeah.
of course.
Yeah. I mean, it would be beyond hilarious if Arsenal don't win it. Man City winning it is dull.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact they get to lord it over you a little bit.
True.
Aston Villa winning it would be sensational.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
I
that's
still
it.
love the Aston Villa team of the 90s.
Do you?
Yeah.
Last ones to win a trophy
Yeah, well, quite.
for the old villains.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I mean, surely they've got the Europa League wrapped up already.
You'd hope so.
You know, you've got
With
to-
Emery, I was going to say
Yeah,
the
exactly.
cheat code.
Emery's
in
got-
the bag.
He's
That's
got
safe.
If you look at Emery's body language, he is absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
He's got the bit between his teeth. He wants it so
Is it
bad.
fair to say he enjoyed when they beat Arsenal?
Oh, mate. Yeah.
He loves it, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
of course he does.
absolutely
That's his
loves
derby.
it.
But even
You know?
even the opening goal they scored in the most recent Europa League game, he was going mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely mad, pumping his fist in the Europa League.
He just
group
loves
stage.
the Europa.
He does, he
It
does.
means a lot to him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him do it.
We'll be discussing Unai Emery's Premier League chops on tomorrow's mailbag. So follow the Football Ramble in your podcast app or on YouTube so you do not miss it. So more Villa chat tomorrow on the mailbag. Some Liverpool chat today, though. They beat Brighton 2-0. Hugo Ekitike got a brace. Got the first one very early on. The quickest goal in the Premier League so far this season, David. Just what the doctor ordered down at Anfield.
Yeah, it looks like they've turned a corner and they're on an unbeaten run now. You know,
Get a load
it's
of
all
them.
it's all rosy. Salah's back involved.
Yeah.
You know, everything's great again.
The songs are being sung and so on. Yeah, Salah returned to the Liverpool bench after missing out against Inter. Came on in the 26th minute, which was a shame because obviously Joe Gomez went off injured. I think you've got to give Liverpool an Arne Slot. And dare I even say Mo Salah, although we'll see as soon as he gets in front of those Egyptian journalists at AFCON
Yeah,
how long that lasts. But no, I think considering what a furore it was, Luke, after that at Ellen Road, for it to be certainly today, as we saw on the weekend, but as we're sitting here today, that could have blown up and gone on and on. It seems to have been nipped in the bud pretty quickly and calmed down. You've got to give them a lot of credit for that, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so. I think a lot of it is the fact that the media is as it is these days. I mean, we were lauding it up, chatting about it.
But Salah's comment,
They were explosive. They were explosive.
Yeah, exactly.
comments.
This is not just a chuck away line and we're all interpreting it in one way.
Totally. And Jamie Carragher, who we're
I was
going
going
to
to say
come on to.
Carragher with the follow-up, like exaggerated.
Yeah, but Carragher did make the point. I think the most pertinent point Carragher made, as I say, we'll come on to it with him and Rio Ferdinand in a minute, but I think relevant to your question specifically is that he said that he reckoned that Mo Salah had spoken to the press in the mix zone 4 times in 8 years, and every single time it had been to complain about something, right? So clearly it was a part of a pattern of behaviour. So I don't think we were overblowing it or anything like that. But I do think there might be some intel in there about how Arne Slot is.
Yeah.
Because a week or so ago we were talking about how, it's not necessarily to be taken for granted that Slot could navigate this because he's not had a huge amount of experience at this level. What I feel like now, coming up the back of it, given that Salah's about to go away and everyone's going to get a bit of a break, and given that they won the game, it feels like there might be a kind of avuncular, arm around the shoulder, quite gentle side to Slot, because he did say in the press conference last week, look, just because I'm calm and I don't raise my voice and I'm not one of these explosive type people, it doesn't mean I
can't stick the head on him.
I'm taking this shit. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he was saying. So, look, on the game itself, I would diverge slightly from you guys because I would say that's a very fortunate start to the game for them.
Oh, it was.
And they would have been so happy to have a start like that. Secondly, fine, they score a second, and on paper it looks like a routine 2-0 win at home to a fairly decent side, and that's what they need. Brighton created so many chances.
Hurtsler said they deserve more, maybe even a win.
I agree.
I can't believe they didn't score.
They definitely deserve more. I mean, the amount of chances they made was, to me, kind of indicative of a continuing issue of how Liverpool are playing, and we can't be tempted to just, interpret the result without looking at the performance. From what I saw, the Liverpool performance was actually probably a bit more of the same. They just got on the right side of it. And I would also add, just finally before I throw back to you guys, that in Hugo Ekitike, they have got a player who now, he just needs to play every game. Like, if you look at the manner in which he scored the first goal, inside a minute, completely instinctive, completely confident, no messing around, exactly what they need. And the fact that the Isak saga has been there has totally obscured how to the manner born he looks and how good he's been. He has to play. He has to play every game if they want to get out of this mess. I don't think a 2-0 win at home to Brighton, given that performance that I saw, means an awful lot, but it's 3 points, it's important. But I don't think it means their troubles are over. I know you're being sarcastic earlier when you're saying that, but I just want to make the point.
David, what did you think of the whole Mo Salah thing in the context of this game and the way Arne Slot? Because to me, Slot, as Luke was sort of saying there, he's been very impressive, I think, in the last sort of week or two, one might argue. He's quite statesman-like. He's put it to bed very calmly in front of the journalists, because even he could have said a few things. I mean, he admitted, he said, well, the reason why I didn't go to Inter was because of the interview. Yeah. We decided he wasn't going, and that was that. But, Mo Salah, we all want him playing, blah, blah, blah. I personally, from where I'm sitting, I think he's managed it very well. Whatever's gone on there, the club, as I say, we'll see as the weeks go by, AFCON and what's said there, and whether this is his last game or not, blah, blah, blah. I think there's quite a bit of credit needed to be given to them for this.
Oh, absolutely. He's managed it really, really well. But that's in terms of in the press. There's still the issue here of him, whether he gets in the team again, whether he stays on the bench. What happens when he comes back from AFCON? What happens if Liverpool have kicked on, had a very good Christmas period, while Salah's away at AFCON, Egypt go all the way, he comes back, and then it's going to be like, oh, by the way, there's still no place for you in the team. So that's going to be interesting to deal with then. So I still think the problem is there.
Sure.
But yes, I completely agree. Slot has managed it really, really well.
I also think it makes it look like Salah's completely overplayed his hand.
Yes.
And Salah doesn't really know what to do, because the reason I say that is because he doesn't go to Inter. That's his punishment. Maybe he sits down with Slot and he says, okay, look, fair enough, I'll take that one on the chin, right? But then what he could have done, if he wanted to be really intransigent and wanted to really take the power and really kind of impose that player power on the situation, given his profile, the player that he is, and how how much money he earns and all the rest of it, he could have said, right, if you're not taking me to Inter, I'm going to Egypt now then. Right? He didn't do that, tellingly. Not only did he not do that, he gets recalled for the game against Brighton and put on the bench again, which he accepts. Then he comes on, contributes, celebrates, and all the rest of it. It looks like someone who's really got a point to prove. He was really kind of active in the game. He wasn't like he was like going through the motions. And as you say, Slot comes out of it smelling of roses, really. Because to me, it would have been overwhelmingly likely, if we were to believe the kind of reputation Salah's got, or that Jamie Carragher and other people have given him, that if he had been left out at Inter and then put on the bench again at Brighton, that's a piss take. That's basically a continuation of what he's complaining about in the first place, right?
Which is why I think...
But he's back down, it seems.
Well, totally, which is why I'm saying everyone deserves a bit of credit, in particular Slot. I actually think you've got to say, okay, fair play to you, Mo Salah there. Now, like I say, he may go to AFCON and go, right, I'm on a different continent. I'm going to let you out. I don't think he is going to do that.
He might start doing a daily Twitch stream.
I still think there's going to be at least one interview with the Egyptian press while he's over there.
Sure, no, of
and
course.
some comments will come out, and I still think they've got to react to that. And I still think if they get 80, 100 million bid in January, he's off.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe he'll be like, if I do this in Arabic, there's no way. No way. They're going to find this out.
Yeah.
Who was it? It was in, which South American player
Daniel
was it?
Munoz, wasn't it?
Was it?
So he wanted to play for Man United, Man City and Arsenal or something.
I did it in Spanish.
Yeah, exactly.
They all find it these days, these Twitter aggregators. They'll find everything.
Yeah. But so I think, again, you've got to say fair play all around there. But you're right. I mean, was that his last game for Liverpool? Time will simply tell. But I think, again, I don't want to be all sort of soppy and silly here, but I thought it was really good to see the fans singing his name, bearing in mind what he means to the club. And so I know you'd rather them have Slot and Salah have a physical punch-up in front of the team.
We all would. We'd all root for that, yeah.
Yeah, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, what am I talking about? I'm kidding myself. But do you know what? Just lastly on this chat, I think what may have maybe changed Salah's mind is, in particular in that game, specifically that game away in Inter, the fans were singing Slot's name.
Yeah.
And as some commentators, Carragher in particular, have said, the hardcore Liverpool support, he said, it would take something monumentally bad for them to turn their back on the manager.
Unless you're really shit.
And Slot has delivered a Premier League title, so therefore, even if Slot was sacked in a few weeks for doing whatever, he's still a Liverpool legend because he delivered that title.
Roy Hodgson got a lot of stick. But generally speaking, they are quite loyal.
I just said the last thing of that. We were going to move on. There's no need to drag Roy's name into this.
He's a manager who got a lot of shit. It's completely contextually relevant to your point.
It's not relevant at all.
Rightly so as well.
He's not a Liverpool. He never won the league.
Well, I just said that you have to be quite shit before they turn their back on you, like Roy Hodgson.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Poor old Roy.
I know.
That was unnecessary. You know it was. It's a season of goodwill. And I'd remind you to remember that.
Unnecessary doesn't mean wrong.
Your Honour. Anyway, we've mentioned Jamie Carragher's name. Let's talk about Carragher and Ferdinand.
Yeah.
After the game, Rio Ferdinand tweeted Jamie Carragher saying, Mo Salah being sung by the cop. Thoughts, Cara?
Yeah, I think, you know, sometimes you see those clips that do the rounds on your social media application of choice, and it's it's either a GIF or a very short video of a clown constantly smashing a custard pie in his own face, and then doing that kind of sad face and looking at the crowd to entertain them. I feel like Rio Ferdinand's been doing this for quite a while now. He's got absolutely no context or self-awareness of the only possible action he could take now to rescue himself is to be quiet for ages.
He's got no redeemable qualities whatsoever. It is quite astounding.
The custard pies now, it's like a half brick now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not enjoying this? No, please stop.
You know that
for your sake, not ours, yours. We know what we think of you now.
That social media meme that goes around, which is the best time to delete this was just after you posted it.
Yeah, right.
The second time is right now.
Yep.
Every single time Ferdinand pipes up, it's like that, man.
Oh, man.
And Carragher is, emotionally led, particularly when it comes to Liverpool. Not perfect by any means, as we know, but he's a good pundit. He's a thoughtful guy. I think he's moderately intelligent as well. And this will be sport for him.
Yeah, he's relishing it. Yeah,
Ferdinand's already saw the bed, because as soon as he realised he got called out by Carragher, he just put the old fishing emoji out there so that he was just taking the piss. Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. That is the only thing you can say. That fuck off.
Yeah.
Clown emoji. Yeah, well done.
I always think the fishing emoji is a sign that you've lost.
Of course,
and you're being caught out.
It's a sort of
absolutely,
defeat.
It's
the last refuge of the completely incorrect.
It is not an ace card.
No,
when you're putting down.
Absolutely not.
Basically, what you're doing is 2 of diamonds. No, that doesn't. Nothing.
There's also a really. Having said that, I think Ferdinand should just go away and be quiet for a while. After the few weeks he's had, I do believe that. But I think there's also something he could do which would really rescue his reputation almost instantly, and it would be to come out and say, "I'm separating myself from anything to do with the World Cup, anything to do with FIFA. I was very proud to do the draw, which is fair enough.
Yep.
He wanted to do it, and I think that's fair enough. But the stuff I've said, the stuff about the tickets, it's wrong. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. It's beyond the pale. And he could actually emerge from this with a bit of credit. He's not going to do that because he's got absolutely no self-awareness whatsoever.
Jamie Carragher, in a way, invited him to do that when he replied saying, that with regard to Mo Salah's being named sung at the COP, said, rightly so, he was fantastic when he came on. Thoughts on the price of the World Cup tickets, Rio Ferdinand? A man of the people would surely call FIFA and Infantino out. Or was your pay packet for the draw, brackets, acting to buy your silence? Yeah,
but that
got him, didn't he?
Yeah.
But that is at the core.
But Rio Ferdinand won with the fishing emoji.
Sure. And Carragher would have been gutted about that. Wait, but that is at the core of what, without taking it into too serious a place, that is at the core of what sports washing actually is. You know, Rio Ferdinand has basically been a conduit for sports washing because people will look at it and go, oh, Rio Ferdinand, he was a great player. He's a character. A lot of people out there like him. You know, fuck knows why, but they do. And that's how they get you, because if Rio Ferdinand is endorsing this, it has to be okay.
Yeah.
It's all right for us to not be tucked in by that, because we do this every day. People who don't think that much about it will say, okay, well, they've got Rio Ferdinand involved. That's why they wanted him, to be the acceptable face of this. Yeah, and not even he can obviously carry the price of the tickets and everything. And he should turn around and say, this is bullshit. He's torching his own reputation, or what little he had of it left.
Yeah. But in 4 years' time, if, you know, when they do the draw again, you know, like, you know, I can change my tune FIFA.
Yeah. And he's much better actor than Rio Ferdinand, Marcus. I'll give him that. Yeah.
And like me, I've never scored against Zika Casillas either.
And he will be able to work out what was in the rehearsal and what wasn't.
All right, coming up after this, Arsenal wobble at home to Wolves. Arsenal 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Late drama at the Emirates Stadium. Oh, nearly a good result for Aston Villa, this. But Wolves managed to...
I feel sorry for poor old Wolves.
Yeah.
Two own goals.
Wolves, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
It was a good performance. They even got an equaliser, and you're thinking, hang on. Oh, yeah, that. Oh, it was a sickener for them. Sam Johnson, who's been a fine servant, scoring... It's a really unlucky one, wasn't it, David? I mean, the way the corner kind of swings in. But, defensively, they set themselves up well. The chat here really is about Arsenal nearly ballsing up and not actually cashing in their Wolverhampton Wanderers voucher. What did you make of it all?
I think Arsenal are clearly fatigued. Wolves gave a really good performance, absolutely. But Arsenal still got 3 points, and on the way to a title, you can't win every game 3 and 4-0 and steamroll everybody. You know, the great Man United sides won a lot of games in this fashion. Arsenal just did that. They got the 3 points. They didn't drop any points, and I think that's what's important here. I think the thing I'd be most concerned with is what's happening with the striker they signed this summer in Gyökeres.
Yes.
That is the thing that I would take as the most concerning from this game and other games as well. He looks desperately shit.
Right.
And it's a massive concern for them moving forward, because they need his goals. That's why he was brought in, because they wanted to get over the previous seasons when they haven't managed to do it. They haven't managed to get enough goals to do it. And he was brought in for this sole reason. He does not look like doing it at all.
There's a lot of talking points around this game, I think. I don't think it's just about Arsenal, but I think, Wolves fans will have to forget. Well, first of all, Wolves fans will not be listening, because they'd have wrapped their hand in on football weeks ago.
They're 14 points from safety.
They've lost every game since October the 5th.
I mean, it's extraordinary.
It's hard to think of new things to say about them. They've been unlucky here. They set themselves up fairly well. I agree with you guys. They frustrated Arsenal. Arsenal were there for the frustrating, I think.
Yes.
And I think the talking points around Arsenal, Gyökeres is definitely one of them, but I think Arteta has a big decision to make about whether he puts his personal pride to one side or not. And what I mean by that is Gyökeres was the big striker they chose. Now, I know there were financial implications as to reasons why they didn't go after maybe one or two other strikers, because they wanted to spend a finite amount of money on a player and they could get Gyökeres. But essentially, exactly what David said, correct. Now, there's two people waiting in the wings, Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. I suspect that Arteta will probably start to move Gyökeres to one side.
When Havertz comes back.
And rely on Havertz, who he loves.
Yep.
And if Havertz's body can hold up to it, it's been a serious injury he's had.
Yeah.
There's talk of him coming back next week. If Havertz's body can hold up to it, he'll be leading the line for Arsenal, ideally for the rest of the season.
Absolutely.
The second point I just make is that it depends which way you want to look at this game. You can look at it as the way that Davis looked at it and said, win ugly, all that stuff. Man United is a good example, blah, blah, blah. To me, it depends whether you think it's that or whether you think they're starting to run out of steam a little bit.
Well, David is saying they look leggy and tired.
Oh,
they did.
I just think both. I think the fact that they can be fatigued but still manage to scrape out a win
At home to probably one of the worst teams in Premier League history.
Yes, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens.
But then what happens next? My question is, what happens next?
Well, that's the key thing. But we haven't got there yet.
They're going to Goodison Park next, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be an absolute test.
So
yes,
he's
of course
got.
it is.
I mean, they have a squad now where they can, and what you're saying should rotate. I mean, you saw Noni Madueke.
Have they though?
Well, you saw Madueke in
have they at the back?
Currently they are. I mean, because Saliba was there, but
is it? So you said they've got a squad there.
Yeah.
Everyone's talked about how they've got the deepest squad in the Premier League, and it wasn't that long ago we were talking about teams not even getting shots off at them, let alone scoring against them. That was clearly going to be unsustainable.
When people talk about the depth, they talk about the depth in the final third. I don't think the people's talking about how strong they are at centre back, especially.
Yeah, because I don't know if they can. I just don't know if they can sustain. All the way through to May, when they have one or two key injuries at the back, particularly, it feels bad for them.
You could say the same about Man City and Aston Villa.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's the difference. I think what we're doing is we are still comparing Arsenal this season to a perfect Manchester City or to a near perfect Liverpool last season, or a perfect Liverpool season under Jurgen Klopp. I think that's what we're doing. It's not the case this season.
I mean, that's not what I'm doing.
That's not what I'm doing either. I'm comparing the Arsenal of last season.
Fine, okay. So I think a lot of people are comparing that. You did, but your comparison with Ferguson's Manchester United, I think, was a better one because they were seldom. Would you say they were perfect? But they were Premier League champions. They did it, and that kind of result, as you say, win ugly, and ultimately a good response after going, or when Wolves get the equaliser. So I think. When you look at it, they're not going to win every game 3 or 4-0 and just steamroller teams and so on and so forth. But going back to the point about squad rotation, I think that some of those players are knackered. Saka, okay, he got sort of 2 assists, if you like. He's not quite looked himself yet this season, I would say. There's still a few bits and pieces to kind of maybe, or 1 or 2 players to iron out. But I think when Noni Madueke, for example, starts during the Champions League game midweek and scores, pings that one, that's great, and that's what they need to do. And I think what they have to do is find a way to rotate a bit more. I mean, even if you bring in Norgard for, I don't know, someone like Declan Rice for a couple of games, if he's knackered or whatever, they're simply going to have to do that because, as you say, they are looking a little bit tired. Yeah. And some of those players have played a lot of football and they're going to keep on going and they're going to be firing on all fronts and so on and so forth. With Jesus coming back, I think that's a lovely one. If Havertz can come back in there as well, yeah, absolutely. Because Jesus, I think he'll be playing on the wing more. I don't think he'll be front and centre. He said that a while ago.
It depends though. If Gyökeres is not scoring, he might have to play through the middle.
Well, he might have to do.
Particularly if Havertz has a setback.
Yeah,
which can happen off the back of such a serious
Sure.
injury.
I mean, I don't think Havertz is not a prolific goal scorer, but he knows how to play in this team more. I think with Gyökeres, it was always a bit of a gamble because if you remember when Arsenal had those options of strikers, it was Benjamin Šeško was one. Now you wouldn't say they've missed out on him particularly, would you? With what he's done, no. I understand he's at Manchester United.
And he's also injured.
Yeah, I get the fact that you could put.
And I think they bought Gyökeres with it in mind that he's a bit more ready-made. They looked at it and said he can come in and score 25. Šeško isn't scoring 25 until maybe 3 years down the line.
Sure, and again, he's gone to Manchester United. You could put the great Ronaldo phenomenon in this Manchester United side and his peak, and he would still be crap. So I understand that. The other striker was Victor Osimhen, and that just seemed to be like a no-go area for a lot of teams for whatever reason. If they wanted a striker, their options were limited. It's not like there's tons of other strikers out there who were, ready to be plucked and so on. But with Gyökeres, you're right. I think that this season, really, if you're going to be really fair to him, this is the season where you think, okay, give him a season to bed in and then maybe next season. But the problem is they're going for everyone. They are quite literally going for the Premier League and the Champions League.
We talked about Gyökeres loads.
And Gyökeres is not up to speed yet.
Yeah, quite. And or maybe just isn't good enough. The story from off the back of this isn't that, though. The story off the back of this is that from 3 of the last 4 Premier League games, in terms of the actual eye test, Arsenal just haven't been that good. They've been passive. Mm-hmm. They've got out of jail occasionally.
But why do you think that is?
I think it's because the level they got up to at the start of the season was impossible to sustain, and they've dropped off, and they've had injuries in key areas. And I think because if you look at a team like Man City, fine, they have a bit of life or death against Fulham, but generally speaking, they just seem to be knocking teams over. Now, I know they're conceding goals in the way they didn't before, but I just look, if you're Arsenal, you know what Man City are capable of, and you know what they've done over and over again, right? I just think there's a lot of signs in the game against Wolves that we just talked about. I mean, Arteta said it himself. He said we're way too passive. There's no excuse for it, and I'm sorry, I understand you can have injuries and I understand you can have an off day, but this team, if they're going to win the Premier League, and then they might still do it, if they're going to win it, if you take the game on an individual basis, should be knocking Wolves over in their sleep. Wolves have been absolutely terrible. Wolves will probably be in the top 3 worst Premier League teams we've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's not just, it's a home game against a moderately good mid-table side. They're shit. They're absolutely terrible, right? And they've got out of jail. Premier League teams can win in the Champions League fairly easy. We've seen that. They lost to Aston Villa in quite dramatic fashion. That would have been a sickener for them. And they were totally outplayed by Chelsea, who were down to 10 men for 60 minutes, right? In between that, they got a rudimentary win at home to a pretty poor Brentford side. So you give them credit for that. I'm asking you guys whether it's a pattern. I don't care about Gyökeres. Respectfully, I just don't care about Gyökeres.
So I wonder then, to answer your question, I wonder for Arsenal, to give Arsenal fans a little something here, if after that very good start to the season that you've mentioned it was unsustainable, I wonder if there has been a little bit of complacency creep into Arsenal. Maybe it's a bit of time.
Maybe that's part of it.
And actually this little period is maybe kind of like, especially that game against Wolves, it's kind of like, you can't say, oh, well, but Chelsea, when they're all at it, they were really good, and Reece James was unbelievable, so maybe that's why we didn't get it. As you say, against Wolves at home, they've had to rely on one of being a very late one, 2 own goals from a shite team who have got 2 Premier League points, and we're deep into December now.
Yeah.
2 Premier League points. So
that's what Wolves do. They turn up and they lose.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, totally. And if you see Wolves coming over the hill, thank goodness they're here. Do you know what I mean? There we are. We cashed this voucher in. And so I think that perhaps, and again, we'll see in the next game against Everton, because they're not going to make it easy for Arsenal, what the reaction's going to be. And I wonder if this result and performance, it was so startlingly obvious that this will shake Arsenal out of any kind of malaise, any kind of complacency that may have crept in.
Yeah, I mean, look, the concern will be, from Arsenal fan point of view, have we seen the best football this team can play this season?
Yeah.
That would be the absolute worst thought, thinking that. But again, I just think they'll go through this. I think they will be fine, and they'll still be there in very much leading that title race, or in it at least. But I just don't think there's anything to be overly concerned about right now.
My feeling is that Arsenal will go down the road of, not intentionally, of course, but they'll find themselves in a situation where they'll be chasing again.
Do you think?
Sooner rather than later, they're going to be chasing, and that's going to suit them because they're going to not be under such pressure. But I don't think, it doesn't seem to suit them in their mentality, based on the last 4 games or whatever we've seen in the league, to be out there ahead of it.
Certainly in the way people were talking about them. Oh my goodness, again, you can't even get a shot away against this lot, let alone score a goal.
They have to realise that, though. They have to realise where they are.
But you know what it's like. That squad, this Arsenal squad, is good enough to win this Premier League title this season. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
Of course.
It's about the mentality. And how do you do that? And I think that's intriguing, because with Manchester City, Pep knows how to win a title, obviously. And a number of those players have gotten over the line. The only thing I would say is that with Manchester City, it's all about their attacking power. I mean, Palace should have scored, 1-2 couple of goals at least against them.
It's all about one attacker for them. Yeah. There's not really anything else there at the City's team that is it really stands out to me.
I think Foden does now.
Foden does.
That's fair. That's what
he's chipping in. But they need to start sending them dirty lasagnas, is what you're saying.
I think Arsenal's game on Saturday against Everton away is the biggest game of their season so far, given what we've seen in the last few weeks.
Yeah, the reaction to this
if they go there and knock over Everton, which Newcastle did, but generally speaking, it's hard to do that. Then I think that's a big plus point for them, and they can perhaps use that as a platform and move on. If they lose, it's bad news.
If they are to win that, it is going to be a very tight game, absolutely. And this is the only reason. I know you just said you don't care about Gyökeres and it doesn't matter. This is the sort.
I didn't say it didn't matter. I just said it's a boring conversation we've already had. He's not at the level he needs to be.
I just think it's really important for their season. That was the big. This was apparently the big difference for them. I know they brought other attacking players, but I think he's a massive difference for them. If he is on form, he is going to be a big factor in this title race. But he's not, and that's the thing we're worried about.
Nothing more. I don't even think it's a form thing. I'm fairly convinced watching him that there's a big difference between playing at the thick end of the Premier League as a striker and there is playing in Portugal. And it's not me being, it's not a jingoistic point, Portuguese league's no good or whatever. But the reality is the pace and the defensive quality and the aggression and the physicality of Premier League defenders is miles different than 80% of the teams you play in Portugal.
It's the time of thought that he doesn't have.
It looks so slow.
Yeah, it was a big thing before he signed from the people who heavily look at data around football. And the big factor was that he takes too long to get his shots off and he's going to cause a lot of block shots and stuff. And so far, that's been proven right, I think.
Yeah. All eyes on Everton on the weekend. Let's move on then to Nottingham Forest 3, Spurs 0. Something that Arsenal fans can enjoy.
Yeah, and we should probably apologise to Spurs fans because when they win, we don't seem to talk about them very much. But the story is, when they lose, they look so bad. It's unbelievable. And you can't not mention it.
It does. It makes you feel nostalgic for last season, doesn't it?
Yeah. Kind of, actually. Yeah, kind of.
I mean, this of course is it the last thing you want? You've just had a game in Europe. You come back, you may be a little bit tired or whatever, and look, there's Sean Dyche licking his lips, rubbing his hands together, going, "Let's make it nice and physical for them, lads." And straight away, it was just like, bang, yeah. Spurs are not going to win today, are they?
They can't be tired. The Spurs can't be tired. They don't do enough on the pitch to warrant being tired in the next game.
Yeah.
They are fucking dull as dishwater. They are absolutely shocking. Frank, I just can't believe he's still got a job.
Do you think it's that bad?
They're fucking terrible. They are absolutely awful. They are mind-numbing to watch.
Yeah.
Can you up that, Luke?
I think he's spot on. I think the three worst performances I can think of with respect to Wolves fans.
Yeah. They've suffered enough.
Move Wolves to one side.
Yeah.
The only group of fans in the Ramble universe that are actually pleased without talking about it.
You're wearing Wolves colours today to try and give him a,
This is kind of gold. I don't think it's old gold, though, is it? I think it's slightly different. But I'm the closest. I'm the closest of the three of us.
On behalf of Wolves fans, they appreciate what you're doing.
The three worst performances from a team in the Premier League I've seen this season have all been from Spurs.
First half against Fulham.
I wasn't even counting that one. I wasn't even counting that.
To be fair, I mean, I suppose
I wasn't counting that. It's Fulham, Chelsea, and then this one, Forest.
Right.
And I think the issue
not even the Arsenal one.
The issue. I didn't actually see the Arsenal game in the flesh.
Right. Okay.
I had to watch it back. So that was. Yeah, that was
basically
bad
you've got choices, is what you're saying.
I think if you looked at the XG for Premier League teams and individual games this season, the worst of them, I think probably the top three will all be Spurs.
It's because it's all down to Frank. He doesn't like, because he wants to work the ball into the box every single time. He hates long shots. He's on record for saying that he doesn't like taking long shots because they're low value opportunities.
Well, it's working for Villa, isn't it? Bloody hell.
Well, there you go. It doesn't work for it. But you know what the funny thing is? They're conceding long shots. Because he's happy to, because he values long distance shots so low. He's happy to concede.
But then David,
them.
he would say then in over time, then that'll revert to the mean.
Yeah, of course he would, but
it'll be down the Dole office.
Sangare was like, "This is how you do it."
What a goal that was, by the way!
Yeah,
so that was
pleased
off the post
because the first goal, obviously, he does really well and obviously lays it on.
2 assists and a goal, I think.
Yeah, it was a great afternoon for him.
Yeah,
lays it on for Callum Hudson-Odoi. If he hadn't taken a slightly heavier touch, he may well have taken it himself. But anyway,
and he's off to AFCON with Cote d'Ivoire, so it'd be a miss. But
I like you went Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah, give him a bit of respect when AFCON comes around.
I don't think I'm disrespectful if I call them Ivory Coast.
Well, take your pick.
No, you have to say Cote d'Ivoire.
Cote d'Ivoire.
It's like Czechia and Turkey.
Yeah, me and don't forget, me and David both speak fluent French, so it's like slightly different. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Luke's on the continent next weekend. Starring
in Les Miserables.
Yeah, I think it's with the Frank thing. The expansion on the point I just want to make was that it does look to me that also the players are starting to make him look a little bit silly.
Oh yeah,
because I do think he can be blamed for what you've talked about, especially when they haven't really got a good ball carrier. I mean, it seems to be that without Maddison and with Xavi Simons not up to speed, they don't really have a ball carrier.
But you've made this point time and time again, and I get that, but there's so much more going on that's piss poor there.
But I think what also looks so bad, like really bad, like embarrassingly bad, to the point where it feels like he's just not being respected as a coach at the moment, is when he says, "We want to be on the front foot today. This is our plan. We're going to do this," and they register performance so poor against a team who haven't been great.
One shot on target. And Frank himself said after the game, if no one gets the time, no one can turn this around. This is not a quick fix. He's well aware that the knives are out for him in a lot of places. I mean, look, you've called them, you called Manchester United the unmanageable club, and I think Ruben Amorim would agree with you. With what he's
Ruben Amorim told me to say that. I'm on this payroll.
Right, fine. Yeah. And you said Spurs were fast approaching that. Because with Frank, I mean, David, there's a number of Spurs fans were saying, look, it's not working under Frank. It's not going to get any better. His CV would suggest not. Words fail me.
I get the time aspect. I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But when it is so bad, I think you just have to cut your losses and say, look,
he's not the right man.
He's not the right man. This hasn't worked out. Sorry.
It was a huge step up for Frank, for going for Brentford, where you're given the keys to the kingdom. Everyone trusts you. And look, he did a really good job with the players. He knew those players. Frank grew with the club as they grew. Obviously, the Championship, very, very different surroundings to what he finds at Tottenham Hotspur, who, lest we forget, are, by the hook or by crook, a Champions League club. And so he walks into that situation. I know what you're smirking. They're in the Champions League. They are quite literally.
Frank also, I think people can be, sorry to cut in, but it's important, I think, to give context. I think the fact that he's clearly not up to it and the fact that he earned the right to have the job can both be true.
You're absolutely right. Because when he went there,
this is Potter and going to Chelsea all over again, isn't it?
Or Nuno going to Spurs.
Well, indeed, yeah. And I said at the start of the season, I thought this was a really good appointment. I like the fact that, we talk about Frank's pragmatism. I think that's what Spurs need to certainly get them back in the right direction. And I talked it up. And early on, particularly, you go all the way back to that Super Cup against PSG. And in some of the earlier games in the Premier League, I'm thinking they look more robust. You can see what Frank's doing here. That has quickly dissipated. I know they were in a bit of a false position for a while, but they were picking up results here and there. And you think, well, okay, the guy, I did agree that he has to be given time. And I think sacking him right now, I don't think that would be... This is the thing with Spurs. I just don't know. I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not. I think it might be a touch harsh, but as you say, David, a lot of people are going, it's not going to get any better. It's not going to improve. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But the thing that we all know right now is that Spurs now are on for a not too dissimilar season to what they had last season.
And also,
that is a sickener.
They're at home to Liverpool next.
Yeah.
And if Liverpool have turned the... I don't think they necessarily have Liverpool, but they're obviously very capable. They've got a lot of good players, and Spurs at home have been diabolical.
Yeah.
Right. And... it's going to get very toxic for him. I mean, for example, if Spurs make a mistake, because the quality, the absolute, we haven't even talked about the comedy value of a couple of the goals against Forest, which they also did against Fulham, which they also did against Chelsea.
Yeah.
If they do that, even something roughly similar to what Brighton did early on against Liverpool, which wasn't a massive mistake, but it was a bit of lack of awareness at the start of a game, and Liverpool scored a minute at Spurs, it will be beyond toxic there. The fans, as I've already said over and over again, are ready to go, and he will find it very, very uncomfortable, and he's going to have very broad shoulders to navigate this storm if he's even capable of it.
Do you think that a sacking is imminent here?
I know it's imminent, but I think it will. I think it's probably inevitable at some point. But again, it depends on who else is available.
Because if you look at the away fans, so going on Carragher's point about if you lose the away fans, he was talking about Liverpool, but I think that's generally the case. The worst I've seen it in recent times was Aston Villa and Steven Gerrard at Craven Cottage. The pelters they were giving him, you thought he'll be lucky if he's.
The away fans is a big barometer.
Exactly, and the Spurs away fans don't seem to be having Thomas Frank.
Yeah, because they've realised they've had enough. Like I say, again, it goes back to his comment about time. It's honestly,
it's probably a discussion for another time because we're running a bit short. But the ownership structure and how it depends how many allies he's got, and obviously Levy's no longer there. Things have changed quite a bit. It kind of depends on that, and it's quite difficult to predict given that now it's different people making decisions. But beyond that, there's nothing to credit him on the pitch at all.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. We don't know how what their hiring and firing policy is, how quickly they're willing to pull the trigger to change things.
Yeah, but it was a good win for Forest though, who needed that because Leeds are showing a bit now. Nuno under West Ham under Nuno, you'd think, I know the points haven't been great, but at some point you think he might try and at least sort out the defence somewhat.
They've been. To be fair though, everyone says that.
Yeah, I know.
They've been shit.
Well, they have. Yeah. Sean Dyche was very happy though, and he said after the match, "Skill without will is worth nothing," as Muhammad Ali once said.
Can I take issue? Can I take issue with that?
Go on.
Because I know I'm the correspondent who hates Sean Dyche the most, and I'm happy to wear that kind of hat. I don't think Muhammad Ali actually said that. I don't think that's a Muhammad Ali quote. I think what's happening these days is people, particularly like people like Sean Dyche, say things that they think sounds profound and just credit them to some famous person they like. I'd be very surprised if Muhammad Ali ever said that. Yeah. I'd love to know. I'd love the listeners to get in touch, do some research. I don't think you can find Muhammad Ali saying that anywhere.
Yeah.
So fuck off, Dyche.
Well, skill.
Just find a made up quotes online.
Just say skill without will is worth nothing.
You'll find a Churchill one
as
next. There's a lot of Churchill ones like that.
yeah.
As
As
well,
Marcus
yeah.
Aurelius once said.
Yeah, exactly. Just I want to give it more gravitas, so I'll pretend Muhammad Ali said it. I think we're all pretty au fait with Muhammad Ali's actual quotes by now.
I think we are.
Yeah.
I think we absolutely are.
Probably turned out he did say it.
No,
And
well,
there'll be
who
egg
knows?
on my face, won't there?
Well, Forest Spurs, we did bill it as the Ange Postecoglou derby
Did
before
we?
the game. Yeah,
Did we?
we tried to. You know, and God loves a try. But of course,
Yeah, but
Ange
he'll
is-
be fucking back at Spurs this time next week. Give us the good times back.
yeah, we'll take a Europa Conference League with this time. But of course, Ange's former side Celtic lost the Scottish League Cup final on the weekend
Oh,
as
the
well.
buddies.
Come
What a
on,
great
the
story.
buddies!
What a great story.
Up the Mirren.
Yeah.
Hey, Saint Mirren.
I mean, it is remarkable, particularly for producer Rory's Hearts.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Obviously, very, very keen on Hearts doing the business this year. But it is amazing that Celtic have got another manager in and he's lost all 3 of his opening games.
It's
Martin O'Neill,
astonishing.
get yourself back up
Yeah.
there.
I've seen memes of Nancy with Russell Martin's hair.
Oh,
So that's when you know it's fucking bad.
I saw a meme with a big emergency break glass for fire axe, but it was just Martin O'Neill stuffed in it.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I was worried that Hearts had their run because obviously O'Neill came in and steadied the ship, which I wasn't too sure was the best idea. But you know, you got to say O'Neill, showed everybody that it's fairly straightforward.
Let him have the job. Just let him have it.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want it.
It was lovely, just a joy, just
was-
enthusiastic,
he was
lovely man, and actually
steadied
filled
the
us through
ship.
the
He
players.
walked
Yeah,
in,
winning games.
He walked in, basically said, I haven't managed for ages, I
Yeah.
don't know any of the players, but I'll give it a go. And
Yeah.
they were fine.
Yeah, he basically went, you're Celtic, the rest of the teams, they're not as good as you. Go out there and just do the business.
Yeah.
And they
Sometimes
did.
that works.
Well, indeed it
You don't
does.
have to. You don't have
Did
to give
you
them loads
see-
of data and
But I'll
whatever.
tell you
Did
what,
you
though,
see Martin O'Neill mucking around with a tactics board on the bench? No, you didn't.
I don't think I did.
No.
And I don't think we ever will. But with Wilfried Nancy in charge of Celtic, I tell you what, title race is back on for Hearts.
It is. It's great. And I love the fact that St Mirren won it. I love the
I
fact
do as well, because they haven't won a cup for, 13 years.
That's what's funny because the one of the I think it might have been the owner or one of the people at St Mirren said this is a once in a lifetime for us. Like you won it 13 years ago.
Well, but you know what he said, but the previous winter, that was in the 80s for the Scottish Cup.
How long are you guys living for?
They might have a lot of young fans.
Yeah,
that we just
fair.
haven't seen.
Yeah,
I was going to
fair.
say, they're not a serial winning side. Do you know why? Because they're not one of the old firm.
True. The scenes when the third winning, because obviously Celtic were chasing the game. The scenes when the third winning were amazing.
Come
They were
on, hey. Your buddies and mine, St Mirren. Get a load of that. Nice to see a team in black and white turn up for an occasion on the weekend, David.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Chances of finding them. Yeah.
Oh, I just looked it up, and Muhammad Ali says, champions aren't made in gyms. Champions are made from something they have deep inside them, a desire, a dream, a vision. They have to have the skill and the will, but the will must be stronger than the skill.
I prefer Sean Dyche's interpretation of it.
I mean, am I giving him that? Maybe we'll call it a draw.
Muhammad Ali never went to Hooters in Nottingham, mate.